points battle, but we treat every race the same. We want to win it, and we're trying very hard, and it's going to be one hell of a race. No worries about that.
How do you see the class of car this year? I mean, are you happy with what's happened with the series?
I think it's been a really good series. I think that at any given moment there's been 5, maybe 6 guys that could win races. It's at least as competitive as the front end of the touring car grids. The main mission for us now is to swell the size of our grid for 1991, and that's what everybody's working very hard to do. Channel 9, the competitors, the sponsors and so on. There's a lot of interest out there, and particularly with the younger drivers in other junior classes now looking at these things saying, hey, that's a fearsome weapon, I want one of those things.
Well, here we are in the Thalgo Cosmetics pits. Have a look at this. We're only a day and a half away from the big race for the Australian Drivers' Championship, and the cars are literally in bits and pieces. We can't believe that. This is obviously the rear end. Over here we've got the cockpit and the whole car being disassembled. Well, fellas, a little bit of a worry, or is this normal procedure?
Well, it's not normal procedure, Darryl. It's unfortunate. You're actually standing where the engine should be at the moment.
Brum, 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 brum.
It'd be nice. Unfortunately, we had a problem in practice, and we've had to change the engine. The guys are working pretty hard at the moment to build one up.
Does it worry you when you know that you've got to go out in a circuit like this, lots of walls, you've got to be precise, nothing can break, and this sort of thing's going on at the moment?
Well, it is a problem because we only get 2 half-hour sessions, and it is a fairly daunting type track. But that's the way it goes. This track changes from day to day, and all we can do is put the new engine in and go in tomorrow and hope for the best.
How have you found the circuit so far? Do you like driving here?
Well, so far, Darryl, I've done 2 laps. Unfortunately, we had our little problem very early in the session, and unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to have a run, so hopefully tomorrow things will go a bit better.
What do you think of Wayne Gardner coming into the class? Good publicity?
Yes, well, we hope so. No, I think it's good. I think it's good for the image, and it's good for someone like that at his stature to, take time out and drive one of these cars. And no, I think it'll be good.
Only 2 drivers can win the crown, so it's down to a dogfight between Mark Poole in the Australian-built Shrike and Simon Kane, the driver leading the points table going into this event.
The series so far, the launching pad for you. I mean, I know you're desperately keen to drive Formula One eventually. Do you think you've made the right choice in your class?
Yeah, over in Australia, this is the only class you could drive in to make it to Formula One.
Can you see the series developing stronger next year with more cars?
If we get more cars, it'll be a great series. It'll be equal to Formula 3000 in Europe.
What's it like driving one of these cars around Adelaide? There's a lot of concrete.
There's a lot of concrete around. I'm hoping that I don't find any of it.
Some of the opposition's dropped off, but Wayne Gardner, I mean, he is a competitive guy. Do you think he can be competitive against you guys?
I've been watching him on the bikes. The guy's got a lot of balls. I think he's the dark horse for sure.
All right, well, you must be delighted with the way things have gone for the year.
Well, fingers crossed that it'll finish off just as good as it's been. Thanks.
Who's your biggest opposition in this weekend's race?
Has to be Mark Poole. He's the only driver that's in contention for the championship, so it really has to be him.
So it's just a dogfight between you and him?
I hope it doesn't end out like Formula One and happen in the first corner, that's all.
3 years ago, Australia's champion motorcycle king, Wayne Gardner, drove a Formula Ford around Adelaide. This year, he planned to join the Formula Holden ranks as a rookie. But unfortunately, a practice off put paid to that venture. The Wollongong Whiz took the front off his Aussie-built Shrike, then another car slammed into the wreck, putting Australia's favourite hero out for the weekend. But four-wheel racing could be in Wayne's future plans.
I think it's a good class, and really that's what I'm doing, is just, checking my level of ability, really, in this type of car to see if I'd like to follow this through and maybe later when I retire from motorcycles.
Yeah, Wayne Gardner not carried away with expectations in the Formula Holdens, because he knows it's just another field completely. And there they are, they're getting lined up. They're ready for this race here this afternoon, and it will be a beauty. And Barry Sheen right now down on the grid with young Simon Kane.
Yeah, poor old Simon has been sitting here in the hot sunshine waiting to talk to us, but they changed the game plan a bit, and it looks like we've got to get off the grid pretty soon. Simon, you've had 6 pole positions out of 8. That's not a bad record, is it?
Yeah, it's looking pretty good.
And how about the hot weather? You're on pole today. The hot weather can give you any problems?
No, mate, I'm from Australia. I'm not like you.
Not an old pom, right. So all you have to do to win the championship then is to beat Mark Paul.
That's right. That's what I'm planning to do.
Good idea. Right, OK, over to Charles Stewart, who's with Mark Paul.
Thanks, Barry. Mark, a big race today. What are your expectations?
Well, obviously we hope to win it, which means if we win the race, we win the championship, so that's what we're hoping to do.
You're up against a pretty tough competitor, though. He's won a lot of pole positions this year.
Yes, he has. He hasn't had the best of luck with his start, so I hope to get him off the line, but the car's been working very well. I just hope it hangs together today and we can beat him on the circuit.
Thank you very much. Now it's back to Ken in the studio.
Thanks, Charles. Well, they're getting ready for this race, and it'll be underway very, very soon, and we will be back right after the break.
It's been a fantastic year for Nissan, and now the record breakers bring you the sale of the 90s. Incredible! 13,990s on Pulsar GL, Australia's best value hatch, with automatics at no extra cost. Unbelievable! 15,990s on the 2-litre fuel-efficient Pintara GLI, and 17,990s on Pintara automatic executives with power steering. Great cars at great prices. So hurry down to your Team Nissan dealer before the sale of the 90s runs out.
Just going for a run.
The limited edition 1.8-litre Nissan Pulsar Reebok. With $2,500 worth of extra value at no extra cost, you'd better run for it, or you'll miss out.
How'd you go? Pretty quick today.
It's a Nissan, that's my car.
How good is this young champ?
I would have picked that one.
He's running hot on Sale of the Century.
If you're watching, Mum, he's ready to play board.
But there's no time to rest on his laurels. Monday, 2 new challenges turn up the heat.
Put out your fire, Marcus.
Can the champ hang on, or will it be an all-new ball game? Sale of the Century, 7 o'clock Monday on 9.
Back in Adelaide, the Formula Holdens are out on the track. They're on their warm-up lap. Let's now join our commentators, Darrell Eastlake, Alan Jones, with guest Mark Skate.
Well, thank you, Kenny. Yes, well, unfortunately, Alan Jones is not with us. He's had to dive back over into the pits to get ready for the Group A race, which he's competing in for the Benson Hedges team and that Sierra of his. But Mark Scaife is certainly with me. And I guess, Mark, a very disappointed Mark Scaife. Not because of the crash yesterday in the Nissan, which has probably created headlines now right around the country. It was very spectacular. But at Winton, your car's tub delaminated. We might explain that quickly, which means you're not running here today.
Yes, Dazza, what really happened, mate, was the car's aluminium monocoque, the chassis, has come apart, and the bonding between the aluminium sheets delaminates. So what that really does is make the chassis very flexible, where it should be very stiff.
And it was just too dangerous to drive, and something like $60,000 to repair. But I know you did try to get one out from England through SPA, the builders.
Yes, we definitely did that. We've been on the phone more times to Pommyland in the last week than anything else, and it's been good. They've been very helpful, but it's obviously very costly too.
Well, bad luck, and you've been going so well. You were winning races, and certainly one of the fastest 2 drivers on the track. Let's have a look at the grid as they line up, because this is a very critical start.
Simon Kane taking his 6th pole position out of 8 races. Neil Crompton back after an accident with a good 2nd place of the grid. Mark Poole right behind Kane, and that's important. Davison, Drew Price, John Briggs, Hocking, as we go down through Tony Blanche and Brian Sampson and so on down through. Now, Wayne Gardner is not starting. His strike was crashed yesterday in practice heavily once when he hit some coolant that had come out of Drew Price's car, causing Gardner to go off. The car just steered off the road, and then unfortunately another car ran into it. So the first one was bad enough, but the second one certainly finished any chance of the TAFE College men putting the car together and getting him on the grid. But Wayne Gardner has vowed he is going to come back next year and have another go, but this time he wants a week of practice and a week to set up the car. Remember, he only flew in from Japan from testing for Honda over there on Friday morning, and it really didn't give him much of a chance. But well done to the strike organisation, well done to Stanley Tools, to Holden and everybody else that got together to try and get Wayne Gardner on the grid. Right, well, the cars are warming up their tyres, suspensions, but we'll come back to this dogfight between Mark Poole and Simon Kane. Now, Simon Kane is in the red car number 5, and Mark Poole right behind him in the red, white and blue strike car. That's the sister car to the one that Wayne Gardner was going to drive. Neil Crompton on the left-hand side of your screen in the multicoloured, the beautifully turned out Dulux car number 7. But the big interest is going to be between Kane and Poole. Whoever wins this race wins the championship over 15 laps. Now, Kane has not got off the line very well in most of the starts this particular season. So the interest is going to be whether Poole, through that heat haze, can get the advantage off the line. Your thoughts, Mark Skate?
Well, I think the dark horse of this too, really, Dazza, is Neil Crompton there on the front row of the grid too, mate. He'll give them a bad time to the first corner.
Green flag waving at the rear. 15 laps, 3.78 kilometres round, race distance 56.7. Green light, racing. Now watch this. Kane gets a good start. Well, if he ever wanted one, he's done it, and Poole's back in 3. Crompton bumps himself up into 2nd place, but Kane made the start of the year, and that's the one he wanted. All cars pouring through, looking safe now. Crompton hassling away in 2nd place, nips away behind Kane, and Kane holds the line and keeps the lead. Mark Poole is back in 3rd place at this stage.
This should be a great run now. The 3 cars are unbelievably close there. That's great racing.
Well, Crompton now in the multicoloured car is into 2nd place. You can see he's weaving and darting, having a look now. Poole having a look too. This is all helping Simon Kane, of course.
Well, Simon's he made a great start, and he looks like he's going fairly well there. Oh, it's over the ribble strip.
Kane has gone off on a wide part of the circuit, and he really is being bumped back now. The interest is on. He's back into 4th. Kane lost a lot of ground. You're riding with Kane now as he puts the power on and lets the revs build up down the straight. He's got to catch Poole. This is a situation where he can win the championship, but look at that. He's a long way back. Crompton now on the inside under brakes will take the lead. Poole goes wide. He's into 2nd place. Is that McLaughlin? Mark McLaughlin in the Thalgo car, which is an SPA car, much the same as Mark Skate was driving, is down 3rd. Kane is back to 4th. What a race.
Poole looks very strong, actually. He's pressuring Neil Crompton very well. I think Mark McLaughlin there is really, he's probably struggling a little bit to keep up with the leader's pace.
Cold tyres. Could we put that down to cold tyres or just a little bit of brain fade?
Well, I think the circuit's very slippery, Darryl, and the cold tyres obviously haven't helped that, so it will be very difficult even the next lap. The tyres won't be warm for a little while yet.
Well, Neil Crompton now is in front. There's Mark McLaughlin, his best position for some time. Look at Mark. Poole goes out, almost a little touch there. Poole's letting Crompton know that he's there. He wants this championship by G. He won the round in Sandown in Melbourne. The car has had some problems throughout the year, but has come good now. Kane got a magnificent start and then really got it all wrong in exactly the same place you got it wrong yesterday in the touring car.
Yeah, it's not a very good spot, that, mate, is it? I think there now that really Mark Poole needs to just settle himself and hang around behind Neil for a little while. and have another attack at him. Neil's covering him very well, and I think it will be very difficult for Mark Poole to pass him whilst Neil's in that sort of frame of mind.
See them weaving around now. What's happening there is Poole is trying to get in the slipstream, and Crompton's trying to shake him out of it. There they go now, darting and weaving away. Poole elects to go on the wider line, hoping that he'll get a better run through, but Crompton gets the corner. So Neil Crompton, the television commentator, the race car driver, the promoter, where he gets time to do everything, I'm not quite sure, but he does a great job. He went off at Sandown and did a lot of damage. A lot of damage to the car at Sandown, and this is his first race back, and he's out in front. Mark Poole is in second, nibbling away there as they come back onto the main pit straight. Poole gets the power down, but I think the round car has got the legs on the strike, or has it? Poole now unwinding it up. Oh, this is a good dice into the corner. Poole's got to back off, though, and hold his second place. Well, while all this excitement's going on, Johnny Tapp is at Rose Hill. Race 7, over to you, son.
Thanks, Darryl. Yes, Rose Hill coming up, and Spot the Rock is being led forward riderless into the stalls now. That very pretty grey horse. And 2 or 3 others to move up, and they'll be about set and ready as we check the tote update. And number 1. Well, you've got to give Spot the Rock full marks for courage under that massive weight. He tried his heart out to peg back the leader, Summer Vice, to whom he was conceding 5.5 kilos. But try as he may, he just couldn't pick up Summer Vice, who had about a head to spare on the line. Number 6, Summer Vice, to pay $3 and $1.50. Number 1, Spot the Rock, $1.80. And pretty close for third, but it looks like 7, Kensington Gardens, a place dividend of $2.80. And you've certainly got to give that big grey full marks for sheer unadulterated courage. More action coming up after this break.
Got a pass there, mate? Well, go home and watch the action on Nine's Wide World of Sport.
Lap 6 of this Formula Holden race, sponsored by Stanley Tools, and unfortunately Mark Poole has got a major problem. Water pouring out of the radiator. He's out. Simon Kane now has bumped himself back into second place behind this man, Neil Crompton, who has put in a fantastic drive. That's Simon Kane, you can see, working his way back. He had trouble getting past Mark McLaughlin for some time in the Thalgo car, now running third behind Kane. Unfortunately for Mark Poole, after a brilliant drive, he's been dicing with Neil Crompton right throughout this race, crawling all over him, obviously picked up some dirt or debris off the track and has holed the radiator and is out.
Well, really, Darryl, I feel very sorry for Mark Poole. He drove very well, and the dice between Poole and Crompton was the highlight of the race. Simon Kane was a little lucky because Mark McLaughlin got caught up with a slower car and allowed him to get past.
See the car very twitchy under brakes there, and they are a bit dicey, aren't they? They do dance around the track a lot.
The cars are very low and very stiff, Darryl, so any bump or undulation in the road makes a big change to the car. That's why they look so twitchy and so much like they're dancing around.
Neil Crompton, as I've said, a very busy man in the world of media, also drives for the Holden dealer team. And there's another little bingo there between the Formula 2 cars, not contesting this championship, making up the numbers on the grid have come together. And we've seen this track very, very slippery today, and you only need to get it out of shape, and if you're that close in company, of course, you're going to touch. Well, Mark McLaughlin starting to make a little bit of an impression on Simon Kane. He did lead him after the start. Kane really did make a brilliant start. As you can see, Crompton gets a little sideways coming out of the corner there, and then got it all wrong going onto the Jones Straight area, and of course allowed the field to pour through. He's now worked his way back to second place after the race duel between Mark Poole and Crompton ended when Mark Poole holed the radiator in the straight. Good shot of Kane there as you're looking down into the cockpit. Let's go through the championship points as they stand. Simon Kane from New South Wales on 44. Mark Poole was on 39. They were the dice. That's all over. Mark Scafen couldn't start today on 23. Andrew Price on 15. John Briggs 12. Neil Crompton 7. Crompton also coming back from an accident
and he's in front. That's the multicoloured car you can see in front that Kane is chasing at the moment in the Route 21. But gee, that's a good drive from Crompton, because he did a lot of damage to that car down at Sandon Park in Melbourne.
Well, Cromwell drives very, very well, Darryl. He's a very versatile guy. He drives the touring car and this little car, and today he's probably been the pacer. I think all week he's been very aggressive, and if you look at the job he's doing there, he's driving very well.
Neil Crompton leading this race at the moment. He'd be pretty happy about that. He's had a pretty wretched season as far as luck goes. This is the ex-Nakajima Formula 3000 car has cut. You can see now the Thalgo of McLaughlin taking on Kane. Gets a little sideways. Kane should get the corner and does so too. But McLaughlin having a big go today for the Thalgo cosmetic team. Going back to this car that number 7 that we see, the Neil Crompton car that's leading at the moment, is the ex-Nakajima Formula 3000 car. So it's certainly been put together the right way. Kane and McLaughlin having a good dice, but Crompton out in front. And you might just go through for our viewers right around Australia the difference between Formula 3000 as they are raced, as that car would have been raced by Nakajima, as it's been raced today with a Holden engine.
Well, Darryl, the Formula 3000 car has a Ford or a Mugen engine, a Honda-derived engine, and they have approximately 450 horsepower. These engines have about 300 horsepower, very much the same sort of torque. The chassis are very similar, so they do present a pretty good package as far as total race speed's concerned. At Phillip Island, they're about 5 seconds a lap slower than the Formula 3000 cars.
Third place in the 89 series for Neil Crompton, and almost another touch there. Gets up on the riffle strip as these two fight it out. Well, look at McLaughlin now. He's all over him. He's saying which way. Kane's driving defensively, gets the corner. But Kane doing a pretty good job at the moment. He knows, I think it's a big job to win it now, to chase Crompton, but he's certainly trying to keep the Thalgo-sponsored car of McLaughlin out into third place. That's the difference between first, second and third, you can see, getting past one of the Formula 2 cars now. Simon Kane's car recording a speed of 228 kilometres per hour down the main drag. So they're hanging about. That's Kane in the red car, number 5, and McLaughlin in the blue and white car, number 11. Kane just gets a little space on him there. McLaughlin seems to close up on the top end of the circuit, up toward the Stag Hotel, seems to close up there. But Crompton doing a great job in front at the moment. Just see him flashing through the shot, that multicoloured car, the Dulox car.
That car of Crompo's has had a bad time, Darryl, because if Nakajima's driven it for that long, and now Crompo's had an attack at it for a couple of years, it'll be a car that's earned its living.
Simon Kane leading now, running second, but leading that group, as you can see, and the championship comfortably he's holding at the moment. We'll take a break, be back shortly for the checkered flag and the run to the finish. Lap 11 of 15, that's Crompton, Kane, McLaughlin, Davison, Briggs and Hocking. They're the top places in this, the Stanley Tools Australian Drivers' Championship. This round sponsored by Thalgo. And these cars are all on what we call control tyres, so they're all tyres that are exactly the same, Mark Scope.
Yeah, they're a very hard tyre, Darryl. They're a tyre made by Dunlop, and they're all the same. Everybody has the same compound tyre, and they have been very good throughout the season.
We really need to develop some more cars in the country. I'm told there are a lot more cars that they're hopefully getting on the grid next year, because it is good racing. It's close racing when you've got 4 or 5 competitive cars. Obviously, you're not there this time. Mark Poole has gone out with a whole radiator. But if we got 3 or 4 more cars, or 5 or 6 more cars, this would be a very exciting championship, because they are fast and they're very spectacular to watch.
I think you're dead right. I think that the class, as far as the pointy end of the field is concerned, there's probably 5 or 6 cars, Drew Price included in those, that do a very good job. But what we don't have at the moment is a substantial midfield, and we probably need 18 to 20 cars. And I think that's achievable without any drama.
Good shot there, looking back at Simon Kane, still in second place, chasing Neil Crompton. Yeah, well, of course, the investment, your car, cost you around $250,000 to get out from Great Britain.
Yeah, they're obviously very expensive, but that's part of motor racing. If you think it's not expensive, you're kidding yourself.
So, anyone that's up and coming and wants to eventually maybe have a go at Formula One, this is the stepping stone in Australia. And probably the only criticism that I've had of this class is the fact that any of these cars are not eligible to go to England or Europe or Macau and race as they are, because that racing is Formula 3000. I'm not sure if we shouldn't have a similar class that we can, for instance, you could pack your car up and go to England and race, but I guess that'll come.
Well, I hope so. I think that all the young guys in the race we're watching there now would love to drive against overseas competitors, and that's everybody's aspiring to do so. It's very difficult when the class is very restricted like this. That's one of those things.
In fact, Neil Crompton, leading this race in car number 7, the multicoloured car, went over to England not so long ago and spent something like $40,000 just to get a drive.
Yeah, well, Cromwell did a good job. He went over and ran in the British round, and in the 89 car, qualified right at the front and did a really good job. I think he's doing a very good job there too, mate. He's trying very hard still, and you watch him at the end of this straight down here. He locks a wheel every now and then, and Croppo is really pressing on.
So Neil Crompton in front in the route. Beautifully turned out motor car, and he does his motor racing the right way. Did very well at Bathurst this year for the Holden dealer team. And Simon Kane has had a spin just out of shot there. We can see Simon Kane going around. Well, it's not the happiest day for him, because, by gee, he made the best start of the season that he's ever made, but he's recovered it. Just went sideways completely. He's got back, rips off one of the tear-offs, and they're there because of all the oil and muck that's being thrown back. And keep tearing them off and keep the vision clear. Well, he's had a pretty eventful race, I'll tell you.
Mark McLaughlin's also done a good job today, Darryl. He had an overheating problem yesterday in qualifying and was behind Simon Kane there for a long time, and the car has run very well and is obviously very competitive. Driven very, very, very well.
So that's Mark McLaughlin in the Thalgo car sponsoring this round. They're a big commitment, this team. They're running 2 cars. Well, he's got through McLaughlin on that. We were tied hard on Simon Kane, so McLaughlin has gone through Kane. So Kane's been bumped back to 3rd. Well, he's led this race, got back to 4th, and now he's been bumped back to 3rd place again after having that lose. Here we go again. Now, this is from the driver's point of view. You'll see him completely lose the car. There it goes. And there's McLaughlin shooting past now as Kane started to build back up the race speed.
What actually happened there, I think, Darryl, is the front brakes faded. This circuit's very hard on brakes, and the front brakes faded. It's had a lot of rear brake on the car and locked the 2 rear wheels and spun. So it's pretty easy to do down there.
Simon Kane, the man that's going to take this Australian Drivers' Championship out for 1990. There's the speeds for him. Neil Crompton at 2:23, Mark McLaughlin 2:26, Simon Kane at 2:27, Davison at 2:21, and Simon Kane's recorded his time twice, but it was the same time. It's certainly the fastest car down, and you can see now the last lap. Simon Kane coming into it. Of course, he's carrying that sign on the side of the car depicting the new circuit in New South Wales at Eastern Creek, and Nines Motor Sports will be there for the Nissan 500 next weekend. Fantastic race coming up, the best touring car drivers in the business. And Simon Kane promoting the new circuit. There it is on the side of the car as he comes around now. He'll take this championship out for 1990, the Australian Drivers' Championship. And it's a big stepping stone for him, but he's had his troubles today. But I reckon he's got a few grey hairs today. He did exactly everything he wanted to. He got away to a perfect start, made a mess of a corner, got bumped back to 4th. Fortunately for him, Mark Poole, who could have won the championship, went out with a radiator problem, water leaking out of that. He had to withdraw the car. Neil Crompton took over the lead. Mark McLaughlin then put in the big challenge. He's running into 2nd now. So a great day for Neil Crompton. He wins this particular race. If he can just keep it on the black stuff for a little bit longer, and he'll be pretty delighted after that, because he spent a lot of money to get this car back on the circuit after a very big accident down at Sandon Park in Melbourne. Coming down onto the main straight now. He'll take the flag and win the round here, and that'll put a smile on his face. But Simon Kane will take the championship. And a great drive from Mark McLaughlin, who'll take second place. Kane lunges at the line and might have just got him too. Might have just got him on the line, Simon Kane. So he fought till the end, but Neil Crompton takes the race out. The championship points standings are now: Simon Kane will finish with 46 from Mark Poole on 39. Mark Scaife, who hasn't run at Winton or here, on 23. Drew Price on 21. Neil Crompton 21. And Prix on 15. So a big day for Neil Crompton. He'd be happy with that, but a bigger day for Simon Kane taking the championship out. Final placings: Neil Crompton in the rout takes first, Simon Kane also in the rout, and Mark McLaughlin taking third place. Well, a happy chappy there. That's an Australian championship to him.
Yeah, Simon's done a great job all year. I think he's been very consistent and very fast. And you can see his team there. That's a great sign. Aussie #1. That's well done.
Of course, his father standing there has got an amazing story. He actually cashed in his life insurance to keep him on the track and keep him racing. And we actually blew that on Channel 9, and Mum didn't know about it. So when he got home, there was a little bit of explain to do. And of course, Simon Kane, part of the Channel 9 family, is a sound recordist for that wonderful program of our 60 Minutes. So a bit of family feeling there too. But Neil Crompton is the man that's taken this round out. Let's have a look at those championship points again. The final points: Simon Kane takes the Australian Championship out with 46 points. Mark Poole on 39. Mark Scaife, who hasn't run the last two rounds, on 23. So there you go. A young man that's pretty happy about his win. We'll take a break. Back with a lot more, so stay with us.
For all the Grand Prix action, stay tuned to Nine's Wide World of Sports.